In this video, I'm going to show you the magic of motion blur and how it just affects layers and gives it dimension and changes a lot of the appearance. So what I want to do with the ball layers, I'm just going to turn the visibility off, and I'm going to change the background to something that's a little bit lighter instead of this black color. So we'll come up to, let's do kind of like a darker white, not quite white, and then click OK. And we're going to add text layers. So Control T to go up to your text, and we're going to click and we're going to type in motion blur. Now for these tutorials, I'm going to change the character font to something that I know everybody has, which is Arial, and that way when we're working together you don't have to have any fonts installed and you can just work right along. So notice I've got this motion blur and it's kind of hard to see with the color, so I can come over here to character, click on that color, and we'll make it like a darker gray. Click OK. Now let's add some properties to this motion blur text. So I'm going to click on the layer, click P for position, and we're going to leave it in the center, and let's go to 2 seconds, and we're going to add a position keyframe right there by using this stopwatch, and then we're going to go back to the beginning and we're going to drag this off of the screen by holding shift and then moving that until you can't see it any longer. So now if I press the space bar, you can see that it comes in pretty slow into the screen. So let's speed that up just a little bit. Let's go to about 1 second, and then we're going to have it come in so it comes in even faster. Why don't we drag it just a little bit quicker? So now you can see that it comes in. So as you notice this coming in, it kind of is hard to make out what's going on. So one thing we can try to do is add our easy ease, and when we do that, it makes it a little bit better. It makes it come to a smooth stop. But how can we make it look even better? That's where motion blur comes in. So what we can do is go to this layer, and we've got all these different icons, and we're going to be touching on these whenever we go through some of the timeline settings as we're changing these layers. But for now, we want to focus on this motion blur, and I'm going to turn this on. Now it's very important to know when you turn it on this individual layer, this is only for this layer, and if I go back and watch this text, you can't see that anything has changed. It's because you need to enable motion blur for all layers, and that's what this does. So now if we go back to the beginning, we can see that the motion blur has made it more dynamic and brings your text in looking much better. So if I bring this down right here, this is my work area, this is going to repeat, and that way we can see the difference. So we're moving in with the motion blur. And then if we turn the motion blur off, we'll go back to the beginning, and you can see that it just does not look natural at all. So that's motion blur. You'll add that to a lot of different layers when you're working in After Effects, and it'll give you a nice dynamic animation to help all of your effects when you're adding them to your videos.